All right, well, the administration continues to use as many levers as it can to move and cure this affordability crisis, which went nuts, right? It went nuts and became unmoored during the Biden administration to levels where many would think that maybe it can never be repaired. But we have seen progress. Mortgage rates are coming down. We've also now are seeing home builders get on board. So I want to bring in U.S. Federal Housing Director William Pulte. Bill, thanks for coming on.
Always good to see you.
It's always great to see you, too. You guys are working feverishly trying to get this thing fixed. I know it's one hell of a job, but let's talk about maybe getting now home builders are getting in on the act as well.
Yeah, look, the home builders are presenting a lot of different ideas. I know that they had one of them or two of them had floated this Trump homes idea. It's not something that we're actively looking at, but look, we appreciate all ideas. All ideas are welcome, and the building community is really focused on making sure that they help President Trump dig out after these last 4 years of Joe Biden.
Yeah, according to Axios, these Trump homes, there could be as many as 1 million of them with the rent-to-own financing, entry-level home buyers. I think it would be smart on the part of home builders anyway.
Well, look, we're looking at a lot of different things. That is not a priority right now,
Sure.
that specific program. But I can tell you there are a lot of really exciting things in front of the president. It is up to him what programs and what things we ultimately do. As you know, we did a $200 billion mortgage bond buy, which we're in the process of executing. That's already reduced spreads. Mortgage rates, as you know, are made up of not just, mortgage spreads, but also the 10-year. And so obviously we need the 10-year to behave. And hopefully with the new Fed chair, we'll be able to get this thing cooking again.
Well, the good thing with the 10-year that's getting a lot of publicity is the fact that it's been stable, right? This has been the lack of volatility, the MOVE index, it's gone down dramatically. It points to calm. Even with great economic data coming out, the economic data surprise is through the roof. The 10 years holding steady. So there is hope that it could get at least back under 4. If that's the case, how does that impact mortgage rates?
Oh, mortgage rates will be great. I mean, look, we got a new Fed chair coming in. Him and Scott Bessent have worked together in the past. I'm very optimistic that the Fed will cut rates. We need a breath of fresh air. After Jay Powell's been in office, it's time to make a change. America deserves better. The American people chose President Trump for a reason, and we're going to usher in a new age of home ownership in this country. So we've seen applications have gone up, new purchase applications. We've seen refinancings have gone up. And Charles, I think you're going to see a lot of more exciting things come out of the administration in the weeks and months to come.
What about this bipartisan Road to Housing Act? The Senate Banking Committee passed it unanimously. The House hasn't acted on it yet. Because I feel like the message coming from the administration is being heard not only in the housing industry, but even in Congress.
Well, that's right. And that's actually why I'm at the White House today. I had a great lunch with Senator Tim Scott, who, as you know, is really championing it in the Senate. Obviously, French Hill's working on his bill in the House. So I'm very confident everybody will come together. Housing is a very big issue. It's the number one issue when I was getting confirmed by the Senate, where Democrats were telling me that housing was a big issue. So hopefully some of the Democrats will come along. But even if they don't, I think the Republicans will do the right thing, because we got to get home ownership back in this country. And thank God we have a president who understands homes, understands Fannie and Freddie, understands interest rates, and hopefully will make it so people can actually afford to buy a home one day.
I know you're always kind of reluctant to try to, say when possibly there could be an IPO for Freddie and Fannie, but obviously this administration is using it, to help with this agenda. The White House, the Wall Street Journal had an opinion piece out. Bill Pulte in his book of liar loans, they're not really fans of anything outside the orthodoxy, but is Fannie and Freddie, is it ready to go public if President Trump says, yes, let's get it done?
Well, it is definitely ready to go public. We think that if we were to do it, we'd sell anywhere between 2.5% to 5% of the company to start. Obviously, that would be up to the president when or if he decides to do it. The president always has all options on the table. So I've said this from day one. The president understands interest rates, understands housing. And I'll tell you, he made the right decision, Charles, because people wanted him to sell this company, if you can believe it, for $100 billion in his first term. And thank God he didn't do that, because now we're spending $200 billion on mortgage bonds to compress spreads, amongst other things. And we also have a situation where the businesses, in my view, are worth anywhere between $500 to $750 billion. Some people say up to $1 trillion that these businesses could be worth here in short order. So we're working very hard on it, and we're ready to go if and when the president decides that's what he wants to do.
Fewer young owners than in the past. We see the average age of first-time buyers like 40, second-time buyers 60, 62. The messaging to young folks in America that owning a home is not only still a worthwhile dream, but soon it could be within their grasp.
Well, baby boomers shouldn't be the only ones who have homes and live in homes and have the appreciation of housing, which goes up in this country. You know, it's a uniquely American thing. The mortgage market, which we run basically at Fannie and Freddie, is a uniquely American thing. And Joe Biden and these other presidents didn't even know that the mortgage market was there. They didn't even know Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac existed. And so President Trump has come in. He understands mortgages, understands the housing market, and we are using the mortgage market to help get people in homes. So young people should be patient with us. But the good news is that we have already made progress from these last 4 years. And I think young people, especially compared to what it was a year or two ago under Biden, can afford more so than they were under Biden, these crazy mortgage payments. I mean, it's crazy if you think about it, Charles. Mortgage rates almost hit 8% under Joe Biden. And we saw a 5-handle recently under President Trump.
I know. It's just amazing. Director Pulte, you're doing an amazing job as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good to see you, my friend.
You too.